What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Sports with Warbs. Today, I've got the Stanley Cup preview. We finally have our two teams. It was a hell of a semifinals. I did the Vegas preview with my brother for the Habs before. And I mean, bringing you another Habs video. What am I going to say? They're in the finals. First teams, Canadian team since 2011. First time the Habs have been in since 93 when they last won the Cup. This is a huge deal. And it looked like a huge deal when they won the other day and the fans were going nuts, and it's because it is a huge deal. So we're here to talk about it, to give you a quick preview. Today I got on the Scotian Canadien. You guys might recognize him if you're around the YouTube commentary hockey scene. Big Habs fan. I know him through other ways, but he agreed to come on, and yeah, here we are. We're just gonna kind of go through a couple of things, talk about the Lightning, the Habs, and get into it. Thanks for coming, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jeff. Can't wait to get into it here. It's surreal. It's funny, man. Like I'm I'm having dreams. I'm having dreams that it's not true, and then I'm waking up to realize that it is. And it's like,
Yeah,
holy crap,
dude, that's like a
crazy.
reversal of the fortunes. Like usually you'd be like dreaming it is happening. That's crazy. One day maybe I'll have that same feeling. We'll see about that. But all right, I just kind of want to just get into it. Quick wrap up of the Vegas series. Like I said, I made the video. They actually ended up playing. I'll just say it real quick. I mean, I was so impressed with the Habs play all year long. Shitting on the North Division was the thing to do. All these American fans, blah, blah, blah. They're going to get destroyed by Vegas, blah, blah, blah. And the Habs come in. And I mean, I'm not going to say I watched every minute of the series, but I saw like a lot. Like it wasn't like they got fluky wins. And like people could say like the way they score goals is that they don't really get a ton of shots and they finish when it's important. But that's just kind of the way they've been playing, and it's been working for them because they have the good finish. So I'm not going to complain about that. I don't think anyone else should. But if you actually break it down, the Habs played a good series, right?
Oh, absolutely. Like even I mean, we did get lucky in game 3, the one that we were trailing, I believe, 2-1, and then Fleury had the gaff.
Yeah.
But outside of that game, and it's become a trend through this playoffs. They spend the first 2 to 3 games playing very physically, lots of scrums in front of the net. I think an intimidation factor, if you will, the first 3. But not only are they doing that, the coaching staff and a lot of these veteran players are taking that time to figure out their opponent, and then they adjust, usually game 3 or 4. It's happened in every series so far.
Mm.
But in the Winnipeg one, they managed to squeak out some wins early, and then they just steamrolled for the rest of the way. But in both the Leafs and the Vegas series, it was kind of even, maybe even more favored towards our opponent for the first couple games. But then we adjusted, and then it was all Habs to the end, and then they closed it out with killer instinct. And the games 4, 5, and 6 for Montreal against Vegas, they could barely get anything on Carey Price. And we didn't even need to rely on Carey to win, which is just surreal and doesn't make sense for me.
Yeah.
Because we're used to that, right? And
Yeah.
it's incredible what they're putting together there all over the ice. I mean, it just seems like everyone's bought in and doing their job.
Yeah, man, that's a good way to put it. And I mean, I like that game where you guys were up 3-1. I guess it was game 5. They kind of like squeaked out a win against you in that game, didn't they? Like,
Yeah.
I like the Habs were just so good at, like, even if they, like, the last 2 games they lost it in the last period, they gave up the lead in the third period, but even then, like, they stayed composed. They weren't panicking and they were playing their game. So it's good to see. But you did lead us in. Let's just get right into this preview. I mean, you're playing the Tampa Bay Lightning, defending champs. I don't know if you would have wanted the Islanders instead. That probably would have been the easier option, I suppose. But I mean, I'm still feeling you just beat Vegas. That's a team everyone thought was like on par with Tampa and all these guys. So if I'm a Habs fan, I'm not too like, I'm confident. 4 more wins. That's what you got to do. But the first thing that pops out to me in this is something that you guys haven't really had to deal with all year is a goalie matchup because you've been playing against the North Division. Now you're playing against Vasilevskiy. This is Price versus Vasilevskiy. Obviously, Price, calm, cool, collected. He kind of let it out there when they finally got the win, but that's his whole thing. He's been awesome. No worries about who you're going to start, all that bullshit like most teams face when they start to lose in the playoffs. But you're going against Vasilevskiy. who is the guy in the NHL. Let's be real. Like, what are you thinking there?
Oh man, it's I mean, you couldn't ask for a better matchup as a general hockey fan, really. It's finally going to happen. Vasilevsky's been trying to take Carey Price's, position as the best goalie in the world the last couple of years, and some would say he has, winning the Stanley Cup.
Mm.
But, round one, Jack Campbell won the goaltending duo. He had better stats than Carey, if I'm not mistaken, a sub
Yeah.
2 goal against average, but the Habs managed to squeak it out and beat them and beat him. Round two, Connor Hellebuck, he's another guy who's, top 5, if not top
Yep.
3 in net. And then it was kind of an interesting matchup against Vegas, Fleury, Leonard,
Dude.
but I'm
Yeah.
not sure what Pete DeBoer is thinking.
That, like, dude, they were like riding Flower, like, oh, the greatest, and then the wheels just fell off, man.
Yeah, it was weird. The whole, like, he went to Leonard, and then you think if you're going to switch to him, stay with him. But then he went back to Flower, and then he went back to Leonard again. I think he just shot himself in the foot there.
Yeah.
But again, not like there are nobodies in net back there, but I think we definitely had the edge with Carey in net. But now this with Vasilevskiy, I mean, it's going to be difficult, no doubt. I think that really is going to be the key to this series because, strangely enough, Tampa might have the edge offensively in this series. I think the Habs have the edge defensively.
Yeah.
Despite them having the best defenseman in the series and Victor Hedman, I like our depth a little bit more on defense. I think especially the way that our big four have been playing. But you know what? Carey has to win 4 without losing 4. And he's got a lot of support in front of him for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, I'd like to, that brings up a good thing. I mean, when I first saw, like, when the Lightning first won on last night, I looked on Reddit, like the finals matchup, and the first thing I saw was defense versus offense. That's what the series is going to be. The Habs have the defense. I mean, they do have Vasilevskiy in Tampa, and they got Hedman, like you said, and Sergachev, but their offense is the main part, right? Braden Point.
Well, think about this. Montreal currently has the best penalty kill in the history of the NHL playoffs. That's insane.
Special teams.
They haven't given up a goal on a penalty kill in like 30 or 31 consecutive kills. But now we're facing the best power play in the NHL.
Yeah.
So, dude, that's definitely an interesting matchup too.
That reminds me of, like, way back, the last time a Canadian team did play in the finals, Vancouver. I remember the whole thing of the series against Boston was, it's special teams matchup, like top power play going against top penalty kill. I mean, we're kind of seeing that again, like you just said. I mean, they might not be ranked number 1 for the year that has PK, but that doesn't mean shit right now. What means is, like you just said, they killed 31 in a row. So yeah, I mean, the offense is interesting. You got the guys, Point, who's obviously been a monster. He's just like a playoff point machine. You got Kucherov, he's dealing with whatever injury and whatever is going on there, but looks like he'll probably be seen in the series. But the guy, another guy, Cole Caulfield, coming out of nowhere. Well, I mean, not nowhere. They did sign him and play him, but scratched the first couple of games, and since then has just lit the world on fire. Does this feel like it's kind of like a turning point? Even if you don't win, God forbid, this year, does this feel like a turning point for your offense? I mean, you've got like a legit number 1 goal scorer. Obviously, he was this entire career, and he is right now in the playoffs. Like, I mean, it's exciting.
Oh my God, is it ever? It honestly feels like a turning point for this franchise. We've been through a roster reset for the last few years. And the first year where Marc Bergevin has come out and said we're ready to compete, we found ourselves in the Stanley Cup final, which is unbelievable. Cole Caulfield has come in, I'm telling you right now, and completely altered the look of our power play. He's easily our best guy on the power play. And not only that, he's fit in, very comfortably in 5-on-5 play with Toffoli and Suzuki. Like the guy, he's 20 years old, first year in the NHL, first playoff run. This is when it's the most difficult to play hockey. He's not making mistakes.
No.
And he's not, he's still getting the offense, but he's not making mistakes. And it does help to play.
You love a player like that, man. You love it. Yeah.
Helps to play with Nick Suzuki, who's, the hockey IQ of a veteran as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's yeah, again, surreal. I keep saying it. It's hard to believe. That was the one thing that's kind of held this team back for so long is we've been able to defend. We've had Carey back there. We've grown some good depth at center, but we still just didn't have that
Yeah.
elite level talent, that finisher. And Cole
Yeah.
Caulfield comes in, and not only is he producing, but he's making the guys around him better. So
The days of praying that Alex Galchenyuk or Drouin will be a first line center are in the past. You don't need to worry about those anymore.
no, yeah. So hopefully, if it doesn't happen this year, knock on wood, it will. But the Habs are set up really well. I mean, another 12 draft picks next year. The team's so young down the middle, all over the ice. So it's crazy.
And hopefully his teammate Holloway there can play similar for my Oilers next year, but we'll see about that. So this next point, we got two more I want to touch on before we wrap up here. A guy who's near to dear to both of our hearts, I assume. You see the logo in the back. I think that bottom one might even be from the run. Your coach, Dom Ducharme, coming in this year, obviously huge. Me and you, obviously both Mooseheads fans. I was in the building when he won the President's Cup. I watched the Mem Cup. Like, I had season tickets. We had everything. He's obviously our guy. He will be back for game 3. How do you think that's kind of alter the series for both sides?
You know what? I think this is just yet another thing this Habs team can rally around. We've faced adversity all throughout this season, and this team has continued to answer the bell each and every time. And again, they had to face it with Dom Ducharme going out with the positive COVID test. So, each series we've got in so far, every round, we've come in as the underdog. So we've hoped to just get the split on the road. Hopefully we can do that here against Tampa. That's the main focus. And then if we do, Dom comes in and then provides hopefully a momentum boost for us moving forward after that. He struggled when he took over at first, but he was dealt a really difficult hand. The team was struggling. Then there was the positive COVID test, or the positive COVID test of Armia, which condensed our schedule even further. Then there was issues with cap constraints and roster size, and he couldn't play who he wanted to. There was guys sitting on the bench I'm sure he would have loved to play, but they managed to figure it out. And what confused me for the whole beginning stint of his run as the head coach of the Habs was he was constantly switching the lines up. And he did spell it out in one of the press conferences that he was trying to develop chemistry between every single player on the team. But you and I both know that's not Dom Ducharme behind the bench. This guy he has his set lines and he rolls with them. When they won the Mem Cup back in, what was it, 2013? Yeah. The lines were consistent throughout. And so that was confusing to me. And it's weird, man, because I was in the building too, like with you for that run for the Mooseheads. And there was a game I was at, a playoff game. I think it was against Quebec. And I'm sitting there watching Dom do like the pregame interview and all that stuff. And the Metro Center's empty. Everyone's in the concessions before the game. And I'm looking up and I'm like, man, like I had this weird premonition. You don't have to believe me, but I was like, this guy is someday gonna not just coach the Habs, but raise the cup for the Habs.
Oh, wow.
I remember thinking that. It was weird. And then whatever. So then when eventually he got hired, I was like, okay, I'm pretty excited that they got him on staff.
Yeah.
And then from the time I was super hyped.
Yeah.
But then it wasn't going his way. But then now to see how it's turned around, it's like, holy crap. And they actually have a chance to do it. It's so weird.
That's pretty special, man. Well, I hope it happens for you, buddy. I'll be watching. Obviously you're going up against the Lightning. They're the team to beat. If you win, they're the defending champs. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. This is it. But I appreciate you coming on, man.
Thanks a lot for having me. And you know what? I wouldn't have it any other way. Bring on the best,
Yeah.
Questions at the end.
Let's go.
The Islanders might have been an easier matchup, but let's say they knock out Tampa. That momentum coming in and how they can play defensively, that would have been hard too. But you know what? Bring on the Lightning.
Yeah. Don't be scary, man. Embrace it. Yeah. All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I appreciate it. The Cup preview. We'll see what happens. I'll be back with some more hockey videos, hopefully before it ends, after it ends, the draft, everything, the free agency, plenty of stuff coming up. But appreciate you watching, and I will see you guys later.